In New Orcs on the Block, the scattered Orcish lumberjacks have abandoned their camps and set down roots in Merivin, the lumber capital of Cortus. However, their efforts to have their community of Axide recognized as an official town district have been met with resistance from established lumber interests that see their growing solidarity as a threat to their cheap pool of labor. Your heroes have the opportunity to step up and help the Orcs of Axide build a place for themselves in Merivin. New Orcs on the Block is an adventure composed of 5 blocks, each of which concludes with the party helping to influence the politics of Merivin using the new election subsystem to elect candidates favorable to Axide. These blocks are designed to take place at levels 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11 as a supplement to an ongoing campaign and are perfect as a companion to the Beginner's Box, Troubles in Otari, the Abomination Vaults, Extinction Curse, or Agents of Edgewatch, which all take place on the Isle of Cortus. You can find the adventure, a companion player guide, and a variety of unique orc-themed play options on Pathfinder Infinite from the Strong Together team. The adventure comes with a full Foundry implementation.
The first time you load into a world with the New Orcs on the Block Foundry module activated, you'll be presented with the following pop-up. If you press the Introduction button, it'll bring you into the Intro Journal, which provides you with all the information you need to run the adventure here. From this kind of core introduction journal entry, you'll find links to everything you need to run the module. So, and if you, for any reason, lose track of it, you can find it by going back to your Compendiums tab, and in the Journal Entries section of the Compendium tab, there is a Strong Together New Orcs on the Block Journals, and it is the New Orcs on the Block Adventure Journal within that. So, basically, within the module, there are the 5 blocks, as well as the town of Merivin. There's a gazetteer presented. And within the actual journals themselves, they're all styled in this kind of pretty green orc-themed format. There's a few different kinds of things you'll see showing up. So if you see a little text box with this cartoon orc face, that is advice from the Strong Together team to you on how you might want to run the module, and that'll show up in a few places through the journal entries. The second one is this book, this green book, and anything within a box like marked with that green book is designed to be read aloud. Additionally, some journals are designed to be shared with your players, but will occasionally have a little bit of GM content that you don't want your players to see, and it will show up in this like somewhat purplish hue. And if you choose to reveal it, which will be an option if you have actually imported the text, the adventure, which will be but by default you will import all of your stuff. The only thing that you're not going to have imported is this New Orcs in the Block adventure, which remains in the compendium. And then when you actually have an encounter, you will find a layout like this, telling you the difficulty of the encounter, the scene, and this is an active link. You can click on it. As long as the scene is imported, which we haven't imported anything yet, it'll take you to that scene. A list of the foes that you need to drag onto the scene, any allies the party might have, the loot, and then along the side here you'll have some more information about how to describe the scene, who they're fighting, what kind of tactics they might use. And while we have tried to include a lot of art, there will be, not everything has art, and you're more likely to have art for a lot of things if you own the Bestiary module that includes all the art for Foundry VTT. In addition to this section of stuff here, you have some new player options, which are a selection of backgrounds for individuals who have a connection to Axide or Merivin. And you can find them all listed here, along with some information, and all these are clickable, and they bring up the background. And if you need to show your players where they can find those, they're in the Strong Together New Orcs on the Block items, and here are all of the backgrounds. So jumping right into things, if we go back to the beginning, you'll see there's this link here to the Merivin import, and this import here includes everything we need to run an adventure in Merivin. So if I go import adventure, close this out, you'll now see we have the town of Merivin, along with a number of numbered links, which includes a journal entry you can page over, and it'll tell you what you're looking at here. So the Letner Distillery, the All Hands Art Collective, and then additionally, there's a number of different neighborhoods. You've got Duskside, the Yard, the Stoner District, etc. And all these links are clickable and will take you to a journal entry that tells you a little bit more about that location. And then as far as the actual running the adventure goes, if you go into your journals, as far as the town of Merivin goes, you have a number of pieces of information for players. So there's the Merivin locations player handout, which includes all the different locations you can see on this map. And when the players click on these links, which as long as they have the journals visible using the toggle notes display, they should click on these links and it'll take them here. And this journal is editable by players, so they can make their own notes on these locations as you play. Meanwhile, there's the Gazetteer, which has the GM information. It's a little more detailed. You get information about Merivin, some of the key figures, all the different locations, some history, and then as you go into places, you'll see like here's location 1, and then some individuals who you might run into if you are traveling there. Any of the events that take place during any of the adventures here. These are all links that'll take you to the appropriate journal entry, as long as it's imported. Right? If the link is broken, because we haven't imported block 2 yet. And the whole thing is split up like this. You can import any content you need, and then simply delete it when you're done with it. It's not crowding up your Foundry world, or you're not importing content way too early for when your players aren't using it yet. And then there's a list of various different NPCs that are present, as well as a few short pieces of stat information if any was provided in the adventure. And they'll also include links if they have a stat block, assuming you've imported the appropriate section of the adventure for them. And then a couple portraits for individuals who do not have tokens. Additionally, there's an election subsystem that was introduced here. So as a game master, you get some information about how to run it, what the steps are, what the consequences are when the players reach a certain number of electoral points, who the candidates are, with each of these being tell you where you might run into them on the map, a little bit about the character, and the benefits the players get if this candidate is elected. And then you've got a list of activities that the players can take part in during the election cycle. And then players get a similar thing with brief biographies, names, and a little less information about that, as well as a section for them to take notes if they want to on the candidates. That's all editable. And then you have the rules, but presented on a player-facing basis, so all the hidden information about the thresholds is gone, and then the campaign activities as well. So the players have that. And then you can track how things are going with the elections in this election tracker, which lets you note down which characters are doing different activities, or which characters did different activities, I should say, which candidates they were done, and how many election points they earned. And then you can write down here any penalties or benefits that they incurred, and any notes you want to take. And you can share this whole thing with your players, because you've got these hidden boxes here to hide any notes you want to take. So with that said, if we go back, and the other place you can, rather than just going back to that journal, I'm going to show you the other place you can go to import these adventures. So under the Compendium's Adventure, New Orcs on the block, and you'll see here all the blocks are present. So I'll show you, you can import Raising Axside block 1. So when I import this, you will now see in the scenes, there's now a number of scenes available, and these are all provided with lighting if appropriate, walls, and similar such things, as well as each map includes a link to the encounter entry that takes place there. So here you can see this will take us to the Part 2, Bunny Yips and Bandages, which includes the scene, information about how to run it, what foes you need to place on the map, the tactics, and then continuation onto the next part. And this is all part of the journal. So you'll have actors, which includes art, and then this folder block 1, you'll see you've got player handouts, which the players you can show to your players, as well as the actual adventure itself, which includes an introduction, tells you kind of where to get started, and then step by step with boxes and stuff leading you through what you need to do to run this, all the way through to the first election cycle. And everything is got these pre-built roles set up, so you can call for a society check. You can just press this post-prompt chat button, and the players can click on that to roll against the DC that's been set. And it's very intensively cross-linked, so you need to click on, say, Alastair the Jolly here. It'll bring up his information here in the electioneering for Game Master's Journal, and you can see the biography, the benefits, and you can find his stat block as well there. I think that's about it. And then if you're done with a block and you don't want to save its information, you can always simply delete it. But yeah, thank you for checking it out, and I hope you and your players have an excellent time in Marathon, and that you bring great things to Axside. Thanks.